The end update is absolutely huge for Minecraft. This is probably the most demanded update in Minecraft since the Caves update, and I'd probably say this is bigger than the Nether update. Yes, we've already had a little end update in the past, but let's be honest, this feels like it's going to be so much bigger, something which adds lots to the game and the dimension itself. So let's go over everything we know right now of what could come in the next end update. And if you could hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it, and drop a like on this video if you want a new end update in Minecraft, and maybe one day it will happen. So thanks to an interview between Gnembon, who is a Java developer at Minecraft, and a Polish YouTuber called Titsini, we found out a lot about how Mojang updated their game, but also that the end won't be developed until they're happy with every other biome / dimension was debunked, and we found out when we could get an end update. This is quite simple really, and Gnembon puts it as whenever it's a priority. So things need to be fixed, and whether resources can be allocated, so people, and whether these tasks can be distributed to different teams to work on. However, whilst that may disappoint you, we also found out big updates can be dropped in one go. That gave me and so many others a lot of positivity towards the end update, as the concern was this could be spread into 2 or 3 smaller drops, and that concern was still there, even though in the announcements about the drop system they did clarify that drops could be different sizes. However, it's still great hearing it from a developer themselves just to reassure that point. Over the past few years, there's certainly been a focus on nature, or more specifically plants being added to the game, with us getting things like the wither rose and eye blossoms and more. Every update seems to have its own plants and flowers no matter what's going on. I bring these two up in particular as an end update would likely bring its own plants to the dimension that probably give a dead kind of look to them, or purpley maybe. Yes, we already have the chorus plants, but I'm speaking of actual flowers, bushes, and a bit more added to the dimension itself. It's also likely we would see a new specific music disc for the end, or maybe even more, as of every major update we've seen one, maybe I think we even saw 3 for the trials. So yeah, you definitely expect a new music disc or more for an end update. I'd also imagine a bunch of new sounds and immersion will be worked on. This seems to be a huge focus for Mojang at the moment. Simply put, when the end was actually added to the game, these things weren't a priority, and the game was a lot simple all them years ago. And even when we had the last update, and that was quite a while ago now, these things weren't focuses. So I would assume that would be one of the priorities Gnembon would speak about when factoring in a possible end update coming. So in terms of things that we could expect, definitely tick off new plants and flowers, music discs, and sounds. Now let's talk about the likelihood of specific biomes in the end, as once again, this is something Mojang are in love with at the moment, and we even saw it during the Nether update that we got 2 brand new biomes. In fact, we had 4 brand new biomes, but more specifically, the wood biomes is what I'm referring to. We've seen tons of modders and map builders do amazing jobs reworking the end and adding their own biomes. I'd really love Mojang to take some inspiration from them, as we know the research section of updates is something they do focus on, and we saw it with things like bundles. If they wanted to have a wood in the end, which I think they would if they did bring in a biome, for me this would probably have to give maybe a purpley type color plank and give off dead vibes. Maybe even add some veins, which if you want to make them a little bit extra or fancy, you could add some pulsing veins, which would make it quite unique and great for builders. In this biome, I feel would see more generated structures, and I would actually like to see that as well, as although the end city is kind of meant to be dead and abandoned, it would give you more reason to actually go into the end and spend a bit more time there, as once you've got elytras and templates and enough shulkers, you have very little reason to actually adventure more around the dimension, especially once you've gone to the end cities, unless you want to fight the ender dragon again. So with some new structures, it would definitely help and keep you in there for a sustainable amount of time. Maybe even add some lore or stories, which you could do with structures, or even abandoned structures. This would give people more reason to explore and find out more about the end. Now, there isn't really much evidence we could get for this, but for Enderite, it is a possibility. It's a hugely demanded item by a lot of people who want the end update, and I feel like you would have to work quite hard to get this. It would be quite grindy. It would definitely solve the sustainability problem in terms of keeping you in the end with something that's quite grindy, like I imagine Enderite would be, because it'd probably be the strongest item. And I would imagine it would be quite grindy as well. I think a lot of people would probably be disappointed if we didn't get at least some kind of weapon tool, or maybe an armor piece from the end. It could even be part of the dragon fight. Maybe even add a separate dragon that is a bit more of a difficult fight, so it gives you dragon skin or something a bit protective like that. So in reality, we know very little, but there is a lot we can speculate on, and they're definitely tiny things we can pretty much confirm based on how every major update has been over the last few years. And thanks to Gnembon saying what might be a priority priority. It's pretty clear that plant sounds and music discs have been priorities in the last major update, so you would probably expect that in the next end update. It's more about how far Mojang are willing to go on the bigger stuff. That's set up in the air, and with how mixed major updates have been in the last few years, it's kind of hard to see if they'll go really far or not do enough, because there's definitely a line between going too far and making it not really feel like the end anymore and displease people, but also not doing enough and the end update being underwhelming. And that would be doing too much would be better than it being underwhelming with how hyped the end update is and how much demand is going behind it at the moment. One last thing Gnembon actually does mention is how big of an impact an update would have comes into the factors at play, and I think we all know the right end update would lead to a big influx of people playing the game again, and if they make it so you have to play for a sustainable amount of time, this would probably allow people to break out of that 2-week phase that is so popularized and maybe even play longer than just for the new update hype. Now that's all for today's video. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Again, please make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you really want an end update, both of which help out the channel. Leave a comment if you want to drop your thoughts. I'll be happy to read them all. Again, thank you for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.